Hello everyone, Luke here. As if the joke about me and Marmite couldn't get any more obvious, I had to go out and buy myself a jar of Marmite. You know what? This. 1 second. You see? Watch right here. There we go. Marmite in the bin. Okay, so for anyone who was wondering what the hell that was, that's the joke that me and some of the people have on the 100 Girlfriends Control Chaos Discord, where they just call me Marmite because I'm from Britain. I absolutely despise Marmite with a passion. Like, one of the worst things to ever come out of Britain. I don't know why I'm getting so frustrated about Marmite, but there we go. Richmond, Mella, Taya, everyone on there, are you happy now that I've done the Marmite joke? So yeah, now that I've gone that out of the way, hope you guys had a great New Year's, and a great Christmas and everything. I had a great birthday as well, but for now, we need to get right back into the Witch Watch reviews, the first one of 2026. Okay, so this is chapter 231, titled 0 Hour. Obviously referencing the fact that, this is the 11th hour before they actually go and do the actual mission on the boat to stop Jura's resurrection and get the bone back from Shikimia and all the other warlocks. Also, I'm kind of surprised that we're actually getting it this early on. I thought they were going to wait until February, wait until they're actually in the month of February in real time to actually do the actual mission themselves. But no, we're actually getting to it. So yeah, picking up from the end of the last chapter, we have everyone disagreeing on the groups that they're going with. Obviously Khan and Kago makes sense. Khan is if I've got a partner with Ban, then I'm not going at all. And Ban's that's my line. Obviously they had the argument in the last chapters on that. I'm not gonna be with them. And then Kago's there. It's not that I don't want to be partnered with Nero, but it's if I have to turn into Wolf, are we sure that's a good idea? I mean, that obviously he's conflicted because he thinks Wolf is in love with Nemu, when I actually know it's the other way around. Nemu's in love with Kago, but she hasn't had the balls to tell him no, I'm not in love. I rejected Wolf because I have feelings for you. And Nemu thinks oh my god, he's rejected me, when they could so easily just talk to each other and get rid of this miscommunication that they have going on with each other. Now, Muriel's was the one that was the most interesting to me, because it was what is his excuse for not going with Momo and Charmy? But we actually do get an explanation from him when he says, "See, I recently learned how to use reverse strain. Instead of absorbing people's vital energy, I can infuse them with it. If anyone gets hurt, they'll let me provide some first aid, assuming I can reach them. To facilitate that, wouldn't it be best if I partnered with someone with high mobility?" So okay, at least he has a legitimately good excuse for it, because he's feeling I don't think Charmy is gonna have the vitality to take on the energy that I'm gonna be giving to her. So yeah, okay, at least he actually does have a legitimately good reason for being maybe we should swap partners around, so that I have someone who can actually take in the energy that I'm gonna provide to him. And he goes on and says, "I thought Momochi at first, but given the various limits on her teleportation, I eventually decided Banner Dragon Form might be a better fit." And yeah, I love this, that because we have all the arguments of hey, don't be having the arguments. I have no idea what's going on, but stop whining. And then Mo is oh wow, this is actually a reasonable point with logical points. Going for the person who can transform into a dragon as high mentality, as high mobility. Yeah, that makes the most logical sense. And they continue on. and they continue on with the arguments before Murray gets more fed up and it's like, don't wait for other people to take the initiative. And Thomas says, but okay, fine, whatever. Let's just stop all this argument and let's just start over again. Let's rewind back to the beginning so that we can actually pick the partners properly this time. As they continue on and says, it's best to keep Nico away from the Warlocks as possible. So I think, so Charming Vecca's like, hey, this should be a great idea to just have Nico actually be staying here, and Murray even considered options, but the problem is like if she stays there and she's on her own, without really any protection, then it's like, yeah, that's just like having a big red flag. Is that like the target is here, the target that you want is actually here. So Murray was like, okay, eventually decided that the safest place is to be here with me, like actually be by my side. But then again, that's taking a risk as well, because this was because being by Murray's side was the reason why Nico got into the position she did in the first place at the end of part one, and we had to go through the whole of part two to get her back to the way she is right now. So might be a bit of a risk that they're taking right here, as they do say you need to do something about the overconfidence. Before we cut over to a news report about how they're reacting to the Warlocks coming into the scene and making their declaration, and ever since their curse was spread via social media, countless people have complained of inexplicable physical maladies. One of them that they actually interview, two people we actually do know in the series. One of them is Kana. I had to really think for a second, is this Kana? But then I saw like, oh, Shiki is actually there in her head. So no, this is Kana. And she says that it's weird. It's like my heart is always flittering, I guess. It's really unsettling. So yeah, this is I kind of assumed that, yeah, Kana would be one of the people who would be most likely to have latent witches, latent warlock ability. So yeah, I always predicted it would be a case. This doesn't come completely out of nowhere. I kind of expected this. So I'm reckoning that Kana is going to be one of the people that's going to be eventually turned into a warlock. Same thing with Jekyll when we get to that point. It makes so much sense why it's Kana, given her abilities that we've seen in the past. But then we also have the former student council president's sister here as well, which I was like, oh my god, yeah, that's another character I've never considered. And it would actually explain so much why the student council president always had that pose and everything. Like, I always assumed that they would be people that would become warlocks as well, but I never considered like the sister as well. Like, it's basically characters we've seen throughout the series are gonna probably be the ones that the characters are gonna have to face off as warlocks eventually when we get further into the Witches versus Warlocks saga. But yeah, it's nice that they're actually acknowledging, like, oh yeah, like these people who focused on before and kind of been having displayed of some magical ability itself. Like, maybe we could use that to our advantage in the story. So like I said, Kana's one doesn't come completely out of nowhere. This was actually set up and pretty subtly foreshadowed. It wasn't like spurred in your face, but it does make sense that she would be one of the ones. Before the news report says, current estimates say that 1 in 30 people are experiencing some kind of symptoms, but even more surprising than that is the idea that witches actually exist. And again, yeah, this is not shocking to us, but we have to realise that this is just a small group that we're dealing with compared to the wider world, who probably who obviously have no idea that witches are even a thing in this world. And the news report continues on and says, witches have we have the female news reporter saying that she's surprised that witches don't exist, and the male news reporter is like, witches have existed for centuries nowadays. They simply regress to the point where most people don't even realise they're around. In fact, some witches may have so little power that they're unaware they're witches at all, which again makes sense. Like what they've said, like the witches' abilities have been the 1 in 30 people who have these latent abilities have probably just been going all their lives without even realising that. They've probably just chunked it up to just random coincidence, just like, hey, you've been able to do things that I can't explain, but maybe just a coincidence. Like, no, there is actually been a logical explanation for it. Well, as logical as you can get in this series. Before he goes on and says, personally, I believe many witches don't find that it's worth it to announce them. Public attention isn't necessarily a good thing these days. Though since this incident, people across the nations have started to claim to be witches. Actually, paranormal phenomena has also been observed. So saying like, "Hey, I can see spirits. I can see spirits, and I can see that I must be a witch." And as they're watching the news report, surprised they didn't actually react to Kana. We didn't get like a panel, a shot of the characters actually seeing Kana, being like, "Oh yeah, that makes sense why Kana was able to keep Shiki alive all this time, when it would have normally worn off." Yeah, Mori goes on and says, those people are probably witches who've been laying low this whole time. As Keigo agrees with him and showing them that they're not alone. They go on to say more than a few of them will probably side with Shikimia too, and with the widespread discontent these days, regular people are starting to instigate more incidents as well, probably to like show like, come on, if we've got witches' abilities, let's try and draw them out in any way we know how, and it's all going to be already splitting into chaos essentially. So as Nico is hearing all of this, she goes on and says, "It's so sad, because magic in her eyes is supposed to be fun, and now it's being exploited for evil purposes, and everyone at this point is just science, like just reminiscent of that fact, like, oh yeah, up until this point it's been such fun, been such wacky, such great event. Now we've got to go into this full-scale war between evil and good with the witches' powers that we've been using for fun all this time." As they're having this pause, Mori agrees with her, but she goes on and says, like, "Wait, what was with that pause? That had to be like 3 whole seconds. It's okay. You don't have to pretend to agree with me. Mori said, because she was thinking like, No. You've obviously been annoyed by our magic all this time. Come on, admit it. You don't actually think this is fun. But Mori's like, no, I do really think it's been fun. It's been a role playing in book when we've been under the spells, but all these things we could look back on and laugh about. So he's, especially when they're going into a full scale war, like what I said, it's nice to actually look back on the things like when they got turned into Minecraft characters, when Gingerbread Man came to life, when they got turned into like manga characters, and when they actually had to use the student council president's sister to they had to take over the student council president's sister to actually do the tea ceremony for her grandmother. Like, looking back on all those that have gone on, like, they may have been frustrating at the time, but now considering they're going to pretty much a life and death situation, they can look back on those times and think like, no, those were actually pretty fun times at that point. As Keiko even agrees with him and says, yeah, sometimes I'll suddenly remember when I'm in the bath and then just start laughing at it, just out of random, as everyone starts to agree with like, yeah, these things have been pretty fun and everything, and they give us no end of unique conversations to start us, that's for sure. Yeah, I can imagine them just sitting around the table playing like, hey, remember that time when we got turned into Minecraft characters? Remember the time when we got turned into stickers? Or remember the time when we actually got sucked into a manga panel and we had to get out of it? Or especially when we had to talk about jeans all those times. Yeah, we haven't had a jean. You know how serious this gets when we don't have a chance of talking exclusively about jeans. I don't know. But yeah, Mori goes on and says, you've become what you've always wanted to be, a great witch who helps people and makes them happy. And this is what makes Nico realise, like, oh yeah, it's not worth getting upset about and everything. So she's thankful for everyone at this point. Before we cut over to Mori having a talk with Reiji, his dad, about how everything's going on, as Reiji says, I'm sorry I left you to deal with so much on your own. Did Kuro tell you what I've actually been doing? As we get to find out, like, yeah, what Reiji actually has been doing, which is the rifts that gush magical energy. He says you're going around seeing them. So we do actually get the logistical reason of like why the dad has been absent all this time. He's been off doing his own mission. He's had his own things to deal with, and he can't be there to look after his son 24/7 or look after Nico probably as much as he wants to. But he's just recently finished. He plans to come straight back home, but he's heard of the various magical incidents that have been happening recently. And Mori says, like, yeah, it's been on TV. Yusakura is cooperating with the police and helping them quell the disturbances. The government have even taken Ibiku on as a special advisor, like taking on Ibiku, and probably even Nico's mom as well. So they're going to go and help with that now, and it's not just me. Kura and Kawagumi have been sent on. So basically, all the parents of all the kids have just been going on separate missions to kind of like get this whole situation under control as well. So Rachel continues on and says he's going to do everything he can to help, but the only people that actually at this point can stop Hiratafita's resurrection. That's the best way I can say Juru's real names. But yeah, basically, Murray and his group are the only ones at this point who can do it, because he acknowledges that Murray is actually stronger than everyone, and he's grown to be just like his mother, so kind and gentle, and he's proud of him. So yeah, great moment between father and son when the father's like, look, you've actually surpassed me in strength. You are stronger than me. You're the one who's capable of doing this. If I can't do this, you can obviously do this, Murray. And we get to see Murray like being surprised at just how proud he is, but we don't actually get to see his actual reaction afterwards. But we can probably tell like he is immensely pleased that his father has actually done that. Actually said, I'm proud of you. You're stronger than me. I know you're capable of doing this. I don't need to interfere in any way, and I'll be here to support if ever you need me, but this is your fight. This is your mission that you need to take care of. As he goes on and says, Kikurio told him about the plan, and that reminded him of a rift he couldn't close, which was the one that was in the Pacific Ocean near the Izu Islands of the northern east coast of Miracle Island specifically. So that's why the splitting the bone will take magical energy. Shikimia will undoubtedly use that rift. So makes sense why they're actually using the boat now. Like, they're going to a rift, to a magical rift, to kind of like boost the energy to make the resurrection even more possible. So great that they actually established, like, hey, that's be a reason why they're actually going on this boat, why they can't just do it on land themselves. But no, there's a popular source of magical energy that they can use to their advantage. As Reggie says, I had no idea the one I couldn't reach would be used like this, but Murray says, like, just knowing where they're heading is a big help. So they're going to take the fight to them, and they'll get this done before we cut to the meeting before the day when they're having the meeting with Kakuryu and saying like, I'll get on the cruise ship tomorrow as one of the warlocks. I'm sorry, but I won't be able to communicate with you much, so that I don't raise suspicion between Shikimiya and the other warlocks. Like, hey, I've been communicating with this guys, but again, still don't trust him. Like, it could be a double cross, could be a triple spy, quadruple spy at any point with this guy. Just don't know until he actually proves himself by actually legitimately attacking and defeating one of the warlocks with them. If he can do that, then I'll be fully on his side at this point. As Keigo says, like, oh, it's best if we can steal the bone while Shikimi's still got it in one piece before we even reach the rift. And yeah, this is true, but again, more than likely, Shikimi's already split up the bone before they've actually even gone on the boat themselves. As Mori asks her, like, is there any way you can tell us where Shikimiya is? And this is where Kuria says, like, if I see him in time to get a message to you, I will, but I doubt you'll be able to steal it from him before the ritual. As Muryu says, like, but it will take hours for the ship to reach the rift by the Izu Islands. And this is where Kuria says that's exactly the time that Shikimiya wants to shorten. I was recently informed that I'm to transport the entire ship directly to the rift. So, like, yeah, it's going to be instant teleportation probably from the shores to the rift itself. As they're surprised that he can actually move big objects across that big of a distance. And he goes on and says, it's possible if I use the energy from the rift. In fact, the rift itself will function as the gate. Since it's our destination, I can use its magic or energy to make it into an exit. And they're obviously surprised by this. Like, they had no idea. Like, he could use his magic like that to use it not just to escape as an entry escape, but also to escape as well. So they'll walk straight to the destination right after they get on, and they ain't gonna have time to mess about with anything. It's just gonna go straight into like pure action. Like, okay, we're going to the rift. This is it. No setbacks, no drawbacks. We're just literally diving right into it. As Keigo reiterates, like, okay, so you've got an exit, but what about an okay, so it's not an entrance, it's just the exit. They'll need one big enough for the entire ship to go through, and he confirms, like, yeah, there is one handy as we cut to February on the Yokohama Bay Bridge, as we see everyone in all the battlefield, they're all in their battle outfits. They're all ready to go. Like different outfits as well, like battle outfits. Yeah, so different change of costumes. And there is one that I'm going to actually talk about in a second, but yeah, I keep forgetting like how short Nemu actually is. She's after Charmy, I think she's like actually the second shortest. Yeah, obviously Murray's the tallest, and then Keigo's like I believe it's the second tallest. But yeah, I keep forgetting like how short Nemu actually is. Like Charmy is not that much farther off her. But yeah, really just starting to get into the battle now, and we are going to talk about these outfits in a second. So yeah, they go on and say, the gap between the bridge and the water is the gate. So like they're probably going to go under the bridge, and that's going to be used as the gate. Convenient enough for a place for us to get to, as they say. Mr. Kikuria says, "What opening 4 gates at once will take a long entry." So he wants us to be as close to the ship as possible, and when they go in as soon as possible, the ship will be directly below them. So they can't afford to waste any time whatsoever. But yeah, Charmy's not worried about all of that and everything. She's more concerned about like, oh, never mind that. Can we just talk about how these outfits that Yusekiyo sent us? Now that I put mine on, it's actually cool. Yeah, it's a pretty cool outfit for Charmy. Like she's got the long sleeves on both her arms and legs, and the magical outfit as well. Nemu's is not Nemu. Nico's isn't all that different, but they're especially made for them by the thread weaving, which they're made of magical cloth in both black and navy. So I wonder who's in black and who's in navy. It's lightweight but sturdy enough to stop knives and stuff. And it also aids the flow of our magical energy, making it easy for us to use magic. So it's basically the Mithril Fest from Lord of the Rings, essentially. These are what these outfits are made of. And they've made special outfits for all of them with that stuff. And Nico agrees, like the seam stitcher witch wrapped them up extra fast, so she probably like just stitched them all together as quickly as possible. But yeah, Nemu's the one. It's like, why do I have to have the one with such short shorts? So yeah, all Nemu's got on is like just a top with her midriff showing, shorts, and that's it. But wow, those legs, Nemu. I'm not even kidding. Go and read the chapter. It's on page 50. Go and read the chapter and just look at how long Nemu's legs are. Like probably like the longest part of her body. Like I know Nemu's my favorite character, but man, those legs. I don't have a leg fetish! So as Keigo is just laughing at the fact that Nemu is like, oh, why do I have to be the one with such short shorts? Like, yeah, they obviously notice the tension between Khan, Keigo, and Nemu at this point. So yeah, they're still mad at each of us as Shama's like, oh, grow up and get along, seriously. Like, we're in the mission right now. Let's just put our petty differences aside, just focus on the fact that we've got to stop Juro being resurrected before the cruise ship starts to depart, and they go through the last run of who's takes which gate, as Nico and Mario will be taking one, and this is where we get like the alternate teams. So we have Khan going with Momo, and they get gate 2. We have Keigo going with Charmy, and they take gate 3. Probably obviously going to run into Dory at that point. And then we have Nemu, Mirio, and Ban going up with gate 4, which I guess makes sense considering like Nemu could turn into animals, and maybe that will help with Mirio's new abilities as well. So that actually makes sense, as Nico activates move ability. So casting this on many people at once will only keep them invisible for 12 minutes. So don't trigger it the instant you arrive. Confirm your targets first and then use it to approach them. But yeah, not everyone is going to get through this flawlessly. In fact, I expect all of them to like fail in session, probably because the warlocks can probably perceive them, even though they are invisible. They could probably detect them coming from a mile off, and they're already probably preparing for this. So yeah, Muri goes on and says, there's something that he's wanted to say, but he can't figure out it. But yeah, Khan's like, we've been over this a dozen times, we've got it down. As he says, no, there's one more thing, and that is don't die. We all have to come back alive. If things look bad, prioritize your safety. Nobody needs to throw their lives away just for the sake of this mission. It doesn't matter if Drew gets resurrected. If things go south, you guys book out of there, because he obviously doesn't want the weight of any of his friends hanging on his shoulder because of this mission. That's why he's so adamant about that, as they all agree about it. They all came here because they chose to be. As Nico thanks them all, and they'll all come back alive, and the boat is almost here. So this is where they actually start going through the pause, and that's where the chapter ends. So really good setup chapter, really good setup chapter. We finally got to find out a bit more about what Rage has been doing, why he's been so busily absent. We finally got the pairings that we're going to have. Now the question is who they're actually going to face when they go through that portal. Like, obviously, again, like I said, Charmy is obviously going to fight Dory. Fight Dory at this point, obviously with Kago now. Kago could turn into Wolf, and I am honestly expecting still that Wolf will eventually be permanently separated from Kago, so that they can actually have that talk about like what's going on with Nemu's feelings, and why they're just like, you guys botched it up so much. Now I have to step in and tell you guys. But yeah, really awesome setup. Don't I? Aside from the Charmy and Dory one, I'm 100% certain that is going to be the person that Charmy has to face off against. I have no idea who the other teams are going to have to face up, so it's just something that we're going to have to wait and see if this mission even does get botched up as much as it does. But anyway, guys, what did you think of the chapter? Let me know. Like, subscribe, comment, all that jazz. And this will be Lasherluke signing off. Later, guys.